I'd love to welcome to the show the newest member of the PWHL, Boston Fleet. Honored to call you friend Abby Newhook. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, Abby, we just want to say congratulations on what looked like just an incredible draft experience. So how did it feel to be drafted by the Boston Fleet?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, they really put off such a great event, from the purple carpet walking in, the pre-day events, the night before and the day before, and then obviously the draft itself was just awesome. But I mean, with that comes a lot of nerves, obviously a lot of excitement, but yeah, you're just kind of sitting in your seat waiting for it. I think what's different from the NHL draft is they have central scouting, so you kind of know where you're going to end up and that sort of thing. But with the PWHL, it's a little bit different, and you're not really sure what round and what team, and so trying to just, balance the nerves with the excitement. But overall, it was just such a great experience, and I can't be more thrilled to be selected by the Fleet.
I think it's so sick that you're going to be able to stay in Boston, play with the Fleet team that started selling out. The audience, the fan base is tremendous here, but you kind of mentioned it. A lot of nerves going into this. Did you have any idea, or were you drawn to any certain PWHL teams ahead of this, or was it all just surprise?
Yeah, I mean, think I can say going into it that the two teams that really, stood out to me just based off of my past and stuff like that was obviously Boston, because I've been here for so long, after going to prep school here for 3 years, and then Boston College for 4 years, and then the Montreal team as well, just because my brother has been playing in Montreal now for 2 years, so it'd be cool to be in the same city as him. But other than that, I mean, it's kind of just reading and reacting to what's going on in the draft. New York traded early on in the first round and took 2 centers. And I did have some good conversations with them, but I kind of figured, okay, they might not be looking to take another center. So you get some, clues here and there about what's going to happen in the draft. But in terms of actually knowing where you're going to end up, it's hard to say.
It's so cool to hear that. And just with the other drafts that were going on, to hear kind of what was going through your head in that moment. But I remember talking to you in the spring. We had a conversation about next steps. And I remember you didn't know if you were definitely going to even play in the PWHL. So when did you know that this would be a possibility for you?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely comes with, a lot of hard decisions, and, just making that next step to take a risk and put yourself out there, and especially declare for the draft. So yeah, I do remember that conversation. It was a conversation that I had with many people at that time, just trying to, see what was the best move for me. But I think it just one day came to me, I think I was out on the ice and I was like, you know what, I'm just not ready to give this up, and I want to make the next step, and I want to take that next risk. So then I declared for the draft, and after that, there was no really looking backwards. It was all forwards, and just was excited to see how the draft panned out and excited to see what was next.
If you could go back a couple of years and kind of look at professional women's hockey big picture, how possible did that draft day feel, and does this new path for you feel? Because it's changed. Professional hockey for women has had different identities leading up to what is now starting to feel successful for the PWHL.
Definitely. I mean, I think for me, it starts back to 2019 when my brother was selected in the NHL draft, because I was sitting in the seat right with him thinking, I really wish this was an opportunity for me, and just to be able to hear your name called and that sort of thing. And then obviously over the past couple of years, I mean, the league has grown tremendously, from the fan base, the level of play, the speed of the game, everything like that. But just being able to see so many young girls look up to this league and know that there's a possibility that they can play professional hockey is the coolest thing. And for me, the last 2 years of college have been, that much more motivating, knowing that there's something after college. So it's just super exciting, and I'm so glad to be a part of it.
Well, Abby, we have to talk about the fan zone that absolutely showed out at your draft experience. Did you know that your friends would be there?
Yes, honestly, right from the beginning, I can remember declaring for the draft, and 3 of my roommates were like, you know what, we're all in. And after that, it was just kind of 2 more girls were in, 3 more girls were in. It was this whole thing where everyone was like, we're coming. And, until the flights were booked, I was like, wow, I mean, this seems like a far trip, but they were all in. They, all in, meaning they were all in to come, and also all in at the draft. They were the best fans, There was two different fan sections going on. Some of my friends from Boston, some of my friends from Newfoundland. So seeing them all there and seeing their support, they got in Tuesday morning, and, I got my hair done and makeup done, and they were right there, sitting with me, kind of just calming the nerves and that sort of thing. So having them by my side and seeing their support, not only leading up to the draft, but especially on draft day, and hearing their voices, yelling right after my name was called, was super special, and something that I'll never forget.
Another special touch is obviously having the support and the backing of your brother. And who would have thought how viral that would have gone? You always see about the brothers in the NHL, but you and your brother presented a pretty sick dynamic to say, hey, my sister's a professional women's hockey player and I'm in the NHL. Like, what is that like for you right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think, going back for the past couple weeks, it feels surreal right now, but he's just been like such a big supporter for me and such a big supporter for the league. He's gone to, the Montreal games over the past 2 years and shown his support in that way, but also just been there pushing me to be my best and supporting all of my decisions. And I can remember now a week ago, he sent me a text just being like, I'm always here for you. It's good to like talk out how you're feeling. It's a stressful time. I've been there and I've had the nerves. I've had the excitement. Everyone's going to ask you a million questions. Where are you going to go? How's it going to pan out? And you don't really know leading up to it. But just have gone through that experience and knowing what to say to me in these given situations and motivating me every single day and just supporting me, from day one really has been so awesome. And then for him to be there with me on draft day after, going through everything with him was super special. And yeah, from honestly day one, he's just been there and been my biggest supporter. So I'm really grateful for him.
It's incredible. And it's so fun to just hear how that connection was a huge part of your day. But I'd love to ask you a little bit more about the details of that day because it looked like an incredible event. So when you think back to that moment, maybe from even getting your makeup done early in the morning, what was so cool about just the draft day experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's just you're treated like so awesome. You feel like a queen. Like, I woke up in the morning. My agency had put together a whole thing of like breakfast and everything for all my friends to come by, my family to come by, and then had the makeup artists come in. And the league also had makeup artists that were available as well. And the hair lady came in, and just having that element leading up to it was super exciting. And then fast forward to the draft, they were sending us in cars like 2 at a time. They had brought in 10 girls just to do some like media stuff and originally like just invited us to the draft and they took care of us, which was super awesome. But yeah, they sent us 2 by 2 to the draft. And then we got to the draft. They had an awesome purple carpet set up with, fans that were coming into the draft or even fans that didn't have tickets were lining up on the outsides. And you kind of just walked through, gave some signatures, got some pictures. And then as you went inside, it was a lot of media stuff, pictures, different questions, like little mini mic stuff. And then for the 10 of us that they had invited, they had couch setups in the front, which was super cool, comfortable while you're hanging out, waiting to get your name called. And then some other tables in the back and stuff like that. And then from there, it was just, wait and hope for the best. And I think the funniest thing about it all is they have the, GMs and coaches and everything up on the stage. So you're like looking up in between each pick, trying, I don't know, maybe to make eye contact, maybe not to make eye contact, but just looking up and they're looking down at you. So it's kind of like, oh, it's like, are you going to call my name or not? I don't know. Just a weird dynamic, but no, they had a great event and it was truly awesome.
Sounds like a lot of processing of all sorts of emotions. I got to touch back on something that you mentioned, life after college. I think we all have a weird, tall task of how to process that. But what does the summer look like for you now that, you played at Boston College, that you get a chance to play in the Professional Hockey League? Like, what's this summer feel like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the past month, has been the weirdest month probably of my life. Just going from college, living with 5 other girls, one of them being AB's sister. Going from that.
Oh, you got baby Hasselbeck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Lucky me. Yeah. So going from
really quick, Abby, she did ask me, I'm like, is there anything you want me to ask Abby? She goes, yeah, ask her favorite roommate is. I was like, I can't ask her that one. But I asked her, Mallory. I asked her.
She's one of the 5, But anyways, going from that to going home and kind of, having a lot of uncertainty going on in your life without the people who are not, I mean, I obviously have my family, which are, some of my biggest supporters, but just going from living with 5 girls to being completely, pretty much on your own was, a lot for me. And just trying to kind of process the fact that, you don't really get a choice of where you're going to live and where you're going to play and what's going to happen next. So, the past month has been crazy, but now that I have answers and, I'm back in Boston with all of my friends, all of my supporters, BC right around the corner, that sort of thing. It's definitely a relief and takes away a lot of the, stressful things about trying to, find somewhere to live and what to do for the summer. And then I'm actually lucky enough that Megan Keller is on the Boston Fleet. And so she's someone that I've always looked up to. And she went to Boston College as well. And she texted me right after the draft, just being like, hey, so pumped to have you, that sort of thing. And then right into like, these are our skates. This is what we're doing. You're welcome to come to our training sessions, skating things. So that definitely got me excited, just knowing, a familiar face. And then also, kind of having a training plan for the summer to get a head start with them. And then on my own, I'm going to be training as well. So that's kind of what the summer's looking like for now. I'm sure it will change like a little bit, depending what kind of skates they're doing and that sort of thing. But I'm really looking forward to that.
Wow. Well, Megan Keller coming in clutch with that BC connection. And I'm sure you're doing other fun things too. But I do want to talk a little bit about just your Boston College experience. Because like you said, it's going to be hard. Like any new transition in life is hard. And even going from college to pro. But what are you going to take away from your Boston College hockey experience that you'll bring into your PWHL career?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've made so many great connections. I've had, a few different coaches at BC who have all been great and who have all taught me so many different things. But I think the biggest thing is, you go through 4 different years and you're put in 4 different positions. And that's so crucial when you're going to play on a new team with, different personalities and different types of players. And, just being able to easily adapt into a new position on a new team. I think having that 4-year experience where it's like you go from being a freshman and you're one of the younger girls on the team and you have to listen to the leaders and learn from them. And then, move into your sophomore year, you're a little bit more comfortable. You might be a little bit higher up in the lineup, that sort of thing. And then my junior and senior year, I was fortunate enough to be a captain. So having that kind of, leadership experience and learning from, leaders who had come before me and then also learning from my own experiences. Junior year, you just kind of have one foot in the door and you're trying to, see what works and figure it all out. You're junior captain. You want to, earn the respect in the room. And then as you go on to be a senior, obviously you have more confidence and kind of, just more confidence in your leadership style and the way to approach a team and approach different teammates. So taking all those things into account and kind of bringing them into the Fleet, I think will be definitely helpful for me and just make it easier for me to be put into any role that they want me in.
I think it's a really cool time for that because one of the things that was discussed around the Fleet last season is that month by month, you saw them still trying to figure out their identity. A lot of moves being changed here, but like I said, the fan base is so loyal. What's something that fans need to know about you in terms of like your favorite part of your game? Because if you're playing center, then you're really smart. You've got 2 outstanding elements to your game to be relied on offensively as well as defensively. And I'm sorry, but for women's hockey, your keen has to be that much sharper because you have to be so much more savvy skill-wise because of the pace of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think something for me that, really brings my game to a different element would be my passing. I think I have a, strong ability to make plays under pressure, and I think that will go a long way in this league, especially with the physicality of the league. I did play boys hockey growing up until I left home for my sophomore year to go to Tabor Academy. So I'm kind of used to the physicality. I played with hitting for a couple of years, and I think that will also be helpful going into the league.
That's important. Any type of cross training is amazing. But yeah, playing with boys is definitely gets you a leg up just because of the physicality. But I'd love to just go back to your Boston College experience because it is so fun. And even though you're now graduated, it's so fun to kind of relive some of those moments. So do you have a favorite memory from your BC hockey experience?
Wow. There's a lot of them. I would say one of them would be playing my first ever Beanpot at Northeastern my freshman year. And they had, I think, beat us every game that year so far. So we went into Northeastern, they had a full-on fan section, and we ended up beating them, which was awesome. A moment I'll never forget. We kind of acted like we won the Stanley Cup, and it was the first round of the Beanpot, but it was a great experience. And then on top of that, the past 2 years, having the opportunity to play at the TD Garden, I've always been able to watch my brother play there and, just being able to see all the support that came out to support women's hockey and support us was just unbelievable. And those two games that I was able to play at the Garden are something that I will never forget.
I can only imagine even like being able to skate around TD Garden just for fun, just to keep it breezy. But just kind of on that, you talked about being able to play with guys growing up. Gigi Marvin here at NESN talked about how she used to always try to like silently really push the guys and test them to their limit because she knew she was better. Are you a chirper or not? Do you try to get in your opponent's head, guy or gal, doesn't matter?
I would say no. Yeah, I'd say like, I mean, growing up, I kind of just like stayed away from chirping the guys just because I don't know, just kind of kept to myself in terms of like not on the ice, but just low key on the chirping side of things. And then, at BC, I would say sort of the same thing. Like, don't really have too much to say. Yeah, I'd say I stay away from the chirping as much as I can, but you never know this year.
You let your game speak for itself.
You're the cinnamon bun is a cinnamon bun, but not on the ice. I'm sure you are aggressive and very much a competitor in that way. But for Fleet fans, what's the game day routine look like for Abby Newhook?
I'm a pretty basic pregame routine girl. I'm not too superstitious, so that's like not a big thing for me. But wake up, go to the rink, stretch, pregame skate, that sort of thing, but keep it pretty low key. Come back, eat, and then nap. And then when I wake up again, have something like smaller. I'm usually like pasta and chicken type of girl, pretty, basic. And then that's pretty much it. Head to the rink, get the tunes going, take my stick, and that's about it. Nothing too crazy.
Oh, I got to know, what are the tunes? Because I'm a music gal and I'm very moody at that. So different days get the hype going. What is on Abby's playlist to get her in the zone?
All rap. It could be, any type of rap music. I just have a massive playlist, and it's a shuffle type thing. Like just whatever comes on, I'm working with. And yeah, I'm not a country gal. Like I don't go for that, but rap all the time. Yep.
Well, I know your teammate Katie Pine, formerly known as DJ KP, is also on aux in the locker room. So is that Abby Newhook's headphones that you're listening to the music, or DJ KP?
I think it's a bit of both. Yep. I mean, some of the things she's playing are, her own mixtape. So I don't know if I have those, in my playlist yet. But, they're great in the locker room when everyone's listening to it at the same time. But I don't know that I could, be on my own with the tunes on, listening to her rap yet, but it is a great one.
Listening to it. I do have to ask, was there anyone else you were in touch with or that reached out when the draft pick was made? Because you mentioned Keller, but I know sometimes the excitement is so high that everyone's just kind of a quick, nice to meet you, can't wait to work with you. Anything else stand out in that matter?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the veteran players actually reached out, which I thought was super cool. Alina Mueller, Aaron Frankel, Jamie Lee Rattray, who happened to make the pick. Abby Levy, she's another girl who played at BC with me, and we're super close, so that was awesome. But yeah, I mean, a bunch of the girls, Jill Saunier, they were all reached out just saying they're super excited, let me know if you need anything, congrats, that sort of thing. We're all pumped, which is really nice, when you get selected to a team and it's kind of like, okay, what's next, what's now, who are my teammates going to be, that sort of thing. And right away, all texted me and just made me feel, super welcome and super comfortable.
That's awesome. And they're not the only people excited. Kasey and I are extremely excited for you to be a part of the Boston Fleet. But I know we did a lot of hockey talk, but we have to get to it. What's your weekend look like? What's the July 4th going to be for you?
Yes. So I'm actually in Cape Cod, and the weather has been beautiful so far. So the plan is to just hang out, go to the beach. I do love the beach, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, just chill, hang out. For this week, like going forward, get a little workout in, in the morning, and then just go to the beach and enjoy the rest of the day. So I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be a good little reset.
Mm-hmm. No days off for Abby Newhook. Love that. Getting ready for the season coming up. Well, Abby, we're just so grateful that you took the time to talk with us today. We're excited to cheer you on in your next Fleet journeys. Everybody needs to hit her up, Abby Newhook, on the gram. Stay up to date with her pro career and her July 4th weekend. So stay tuned for more coming from Abby Newhook. We're so pumped to have you.
My name is Happy Gilmore. How are you? Proud to be part of the 2025 NHL Draft. The Boston Bruins select from Boston College James Hagens. Way to go, homie!
Oh, man, that was, the highlight for James, that's for sure, and something we've been playing on the airwaves. It's been circulating, and for good reason. We're going to talk about that, but just quick, James Hagens, 7th pick in the draft, going to BC and going to the Boston Bruins, hopefully, eventually. But the whole Adam Sandler thing, I loved it. Who didn't?
Still trying to look at you.
Yeah.
Did you get the follow? Was Razor able to help you solidify?
Oh my God. No, so what I said, I think it was Gary Bettman who said, was it, I don't know, he's like, one of the biggest Bruins fans out there, Adam Sandler. And I was like, if he's the biggest Bruins fan, why isn't he following us
if
on
he's a
Instagram?
real one.
Let's go. Do you not watch? Hello,
Yeah.
I'm your host. Hi.
If he's a real one,
I'm here.
NESN and Sophia.
Yeah,
I need to see it on the follow.
We're going to get there. Don't worry. I will find a way to get that done. Maybe when he does this like press tour or something like that. Or should I just keep DMing him or bothering him? I don't know.
Don't the kids these days do the slide up, like you heart stories?
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Hit him with the slide up.
I don't know what to do, but we'll figure it out. Maybe James can get me a follow from Adam Sandler. My question to you, I was thinking about this. Obviously, the teams don't know who they're picking depending on how it's going. So I'm like, where was he? Was this happening live? Or you guys said you think he recorded like 20 names?
I feel like he did the 20-name recording.
That's annoying.
You know, it is super annoying.
That's
but
annoying.
Time is money. I can't imagine what else Adam Sandler's running around doing.
Like
So,
he's not sitting around on Friday night being like, okay guys, I'm in front of this yellow screen and I'm gonna go when you're ready, right? Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Imagine they played the wrong sound.
Oh my gosh. Well, considering how that draft house stuff was going down, wasn't a fan of it. But that's the other reason why I don't know if it was live, because it feels like there was too many things being tested out for the first time. Like Adam Sandler would have been here forever.
Yeah.
Imagine if we traded the pick. At least we could put that conversation to bed finally, right?
Okay, yeah. So I guess if they traded the pick, then they probably would have canceled the Adam Sandler intro.
I would hope.
I don't know.
Depends on how up to the gun it was.
But it worked out well. It worked out well for that presentation and how that went. Wait, I had one more question about Adam Sandler, and I totally forgot what it was. But it doesn't matter because we're just going to talk. I'll think of it somewhere. I'm trying to stall over here. We'll come back to it. No, but that being such a big deal for James Hagens, and him saying like, what are the chances? There are a lot of good movies out there. He's a young kid, not for nothing. The original Happy Gilmore was a long time ago, and I love that that's his favorite movie, and that would have been just like such a sweet moment for him, which he said it obviously was.
Yeah.
Kasey, I'm not going to pretend here that I know a lot about James Hagens other than what I've read, right? I'm not going to be here. I'm not a scout. I'm not an NHL scout, but we've got to read a lot. I'm going to meet him this week at development camp.
Yep.
He was supposed to report today, but there have been some travel delays. You saw that on Twitter? Yep. Okay, so some travel delays, so he won't be at camp today, but we're going to get to know him. But from what you've read, from what you know, what do you make of this pick for the Boston Bruins?
I was actually excited. I didn't talk about him much because there was two other guys highly on my radar for this, but I will say this. I spent my Valentine's Day with my best friend, her husband, and our other best friend. They came up to Boston for the Four Nations tournament.
Yeah.
And on Valentine's Day, UMass was playing BC, and that's the only place that my best friends wanted to be, was to go watch a BC game. So we actually went. Hagens picked up an assist in the third quarter on that one, and after the game, him and his brother Michael, with the utmost patience, signed everything that came at them, stood for picture after picture after picture. I'm talking like it felt like well over an hour after the game. Just the best sportsmanship and just really, really nice kids for one, or I don't want to call them kids, nice guys. But what I will say is that I'm excited to see what his potential is in terms of timing fitting in with the Bruins and all the highlight films that we have seen since he got drafted, and even beforehand, if you watch his career at BC, the kid's an absolute slot machine. And being able to register goals from the slot has become a big theme for any team to find success. That was how the Blues kept it interesting versus the Jets, and just completely putting Connor Hellebuck on his toes and really making him work for it. So a lot of things to be excited about when it comes to Hagens, but more so the character. I mean, my best friend's sons now have signed merch by James Hagens that they will be so excited to wear as they get older.
Why? I want to ask a hockey question, but first I want to ask, why is that the only place they wanted to be? Did they go there?
No. So my best friend's husband is big on hockey. He's from Pittsburgh, and for some reason he's just more dialed into college hockey than anything else. And so Boston College, because of their production of NHLers as well as BU, he just kind of gravitated towards that years ago and stuck with it. So the boys have had Boston College hockey merch since they came out of the womb. 2 out of the 3 boys that my best friend has know that they want to go to Boston College. The third one, not speaking so much yet, but I'm sure he'll jump on board as well soon.
Okay, I love that. I love that you guys went to a college hockey game, and I love that even though not from here, that's got the lure and the reputation.
It's loud.
Yeah, and like that's something that James Hagens were saying, like see the facilities, they know the reputation. Like, he wanted to be in Boston for college, and then he's like, I wanted to come back, or I guess stay, but I wanted to come back. So this is, such a win-win for him. And then the joke, of course, 6 guys that potentially could end up with the Boston Bruins playing in BC for the Eagles. So people calling them the Boston Bruins Eagles, blah, blah, blah.
Bruins College.
Yeah, Bruins College or whatever it is. It's just working out that way. I know that the scouts and Don Sweeney and management, they're not like drafting just because of that, but it is helpful. We had Brick and Razor on. It is helpful to not be so far away, to be able to bring guys up without traveling them. So the joke, here we go. Just found the new logo for Boston College next season. And there you go. We got the eagle there on the Boston Bruins crest. Hold on. Producer Brendan just said something. Say it again, because I didn't catch it.
Hagens is landed.
Oh, he is at development camp. Okay, just kidding about the travel. He will be there. So great. I think we're going to talk to him today, but at some point this week, I'll definitely get some more information on these guys. Are we playing sound? I think we get to hear from James Hagens at some point. I'm asking that actually to the producer. Yes, we are. Okay, great. We're going to toss to James Hagens. I'm going to gather my thoughts. Let's hear from him after the draft.
Hey, James, welcome. There was a lot of speculation today about your hometown team maybe trading up to get you. Were you following that, and what was that? What was your day like?
Yeah, I stay away from all that stuff. I had no idea where I was going to end up. I'm so grateful that I'm ending up at Boston, that I'm a Bruin, and that I'm not leaving the Boston area. I wanted to go to college in Boston, and it just turned out that the Bruins picked me. So I'm super grateful that it worked out.
James, did you eventually get to talk to Bruins management? And if so, what did that conversation go like?
I just got off the phone with them. It was really good. Just really excited to get to training camp and to be able to see them in person.
Hey, James, congratulations on getting drafted. There's obviously a bunch of BC teammates of yours that have been drafted by the Bruins too, that you're playing with. What have they told you, if you've ever asked them, about what it's like to get drafted by the Bruins, be a prospect, go to development camp, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, they take it with a lot of pride. It's such an honor to be able to get drafted by an organization like this. You just have to be so grateful. Training camp is just making sure you're ready for it, making sure you're showing your best on the ice, and you're trying to make the team. So,
James, congratulations. For starters, what goes into your thought process about whether or not to go back to school, or whether or not to take the step forward?
Yeah, it's a talk that I'm sure I'll have with the staff when I see them. Good thing is it's right down the street from each other, so I'm glad it all worked out.
James, congratulations. For Bruins fans who haven't seen your game and what you bring on the ice, what is your skill set, and what can Bruins fans look forward to from seeing you in a couple of years?
Yeah, just excitement. A player that has a really good hockey IQ, loves to skate with the puck. Is an exciting player to watch, so that'll put his heart and soul on the line, give it his all to the team.
James, a couple of questions. First of all, congrats. And obviously, when you were making the decision to go to Boston College, you had nothing in your head that this could happen. What was it about choosing Boston College and Boston? How much of what you knew about Boston factored into that decision back then?
Yeah, I loved the city. I just loved being in Boston. I grew up playing so many hockey tournaments in Boston, so I knew the area, knew it really well. I wanted to be on the East Coast, and I went to school at BC, and now I'm a Boston Bruin. So it's tough to, picture that before the draft. I'm super grateful it worked out, and then I'm in this spot now.
And we're expecting to see you at development camp on Monday. What do you think? How do you think it's going to feel that first few shifts or that whole experience?
Yeah, it'll feel good. We've skated at Warrior a bunch of times this year for practices, so it's not like it's going to be a new rank or anything. And I know a bunch of the prospects that will be there as well, so it'll be really nice.
Hey, James, congratulations. Were you surprised to not go in the top 5, or how did you kind of handle that? Was there any disappointment involved?
I wanted to be at a spot that wanted me the most, and I wanted to be at a good spot. I'm so lucky that I ended up being a Boston Bruin. It's the best spot in the world. It's a dream come true for me, and I know for my whole entire family. So I'm just so excited right now. I'm really excited to be able to say that I'm a Boston Bruin, and I take a lot of pride in that.
James, with the way you fell a little bit in the draft, do you think your season at BC was underappreciated? And is there all a chip on your shoulder to prove people wrong?
Yeah, I think next year you'll be able to hopefully see. I thought this year was really good. You just got to go out there next year and prove everyone that passed on you wrong. But hey, I'm in a spot where I want to be. I want to be a Boston Bruin, and I'm really excited to get things going. So.
James, congratulations. I know you said it's a conversation with management about when you make that jump, but having played with a couple of guys who did make the jump last year, how close do you think you are to being ready?
Yeah, I'm weighing around 190 now. So physically, I've been able to put on weight, physically been able to get in the gym and get ready. I want to play in the NHL as soon as possible. Whether that's a conversation with the team, whether you're doing that now or once the college season's over, that's a conversation we'd have to have.
2 questions, James. First of all, kind of a fun one. Adam Sandler selecting you. When you saw that, were you just like, what is happening? Is this real?
Yeah, I saw him pop up, and I remember looking at my mom, and I just had the biggest smile on my face because I loved Happy Gilmore. It was my favorite movie, so it was right away the coolest thing. And then as he starts talking, you hope to hear that he's going to say Boston College, and he ended up saying Boston College, and I waited an extra second to hear my name and stood up. From there, it was just it was nuts. I remember walking down the aisle, seeing him riding his golf club or whatever it was, like it was a horse. So that was pretty funny.
My other question is about your time at BC. When you've been there, you obviously have had a few other guys on your team that have been drafted really high in the first round. Were there any of those guys that you learned from? And what did you take away from that, as well as have any of those guys texted you to tell you congrats?
Yeah, I haven't been really able to look at my phone right now. So, but I talked to Gabe, I talked to Ryan, I talked to Fowler, I talked to all those guys that were high picks almost every day. So they're a big step of this year. Just being by my side through it all, being able to talk to those guys, being able to see how they act, how they go about their day, how they act as pros. So
Congratulations, James. You've had some excellent teammates at BC and an excellent team. Probably haven't achieved all you thought you could. Do you feel like there's unfinished business there? And what have you learned so far that you hope to take into the coming season with the Eagles to try to get over the top?
Win a national championship in a beam pot.
Yeah, that would be fun. One of the questions that he was asked was if he's ready to make the jump into the NHL, or I think it was like, are you going to continue the college route or go to the NHL? That's not his choice, everybody, okay? That is not up to him. I mean, it's up to him in a way that, like, if he prepares and shows up, in that way, that's in his control. But he doesn't go to Sweens or to Greg Brown and say, like, hey, guys, sorry, I'm going to go to the NHL. That opportunity needs to come. There are a couple things that need to happen. Brick and Razor were on the desk on Saturday when we had our show. Size is one of them. Board, like what you normally see with every young player. It's like your strength along the board, strength on the puck, size, speed, maybe. He's got great hands is one of the reads on him. But you had a good point to how maybe this year's college experience might help him prepare for the NHL better. What's that about, Kasey?
What's that about?
Yeah.
Because another thing that was talked about is like some people kind of underestimating, where am I from today? Underestimating his ability to be the skilled player that's listed on his resume because he was playing next to Orion Leonard and Perreault. But I think that one more year in college will do tremendous things because as of August 1st, we get this merger where Canadian players can declare to play D1 hockey. And we've heard a number of those commits throughout the draft. And considering how many OHLers were picked up in the first and second round, considering how many Canadians were picked up in the first and second round, the big jump off from what we saw over the past 2 drafts where USHL guys were really kind of like the go-to to grab out of the draft and be more NHL ready. OHL players, CHL players, they're closer to being NHL ready, which is going to just level up the competition in college hockey this upcoming year. College hockey took another step this previous season, so I feel like Hagens would get a really great learning curve going against a different level of competition in a more intensified college market for hockey.
So you're saying because, which I totally agree with you, but just to like recap, because now Canadian players can go and play college and you have these different skill sets that are now all of a sudden competing for roster spots in colleges, the competition's just going to be better and you're going to be playing with like different athletes and different experiences.
Yeah.
And that can help.
It's almost how we talk about in basketball, like guys that play overseas, you're playing against men, you're playing against more maturity. Like OHL just has a different degree to it. And a lot of these Canadian players have a different degree to their paths to getting over to, American leagues or the NHL as a whole. So I feel like it's going to help him a lot. And you want him to come in ready. We don't want him to be discouraged because there's just been so much conversation around development, especially when it comes to the Bruins. So one more year, I think it's going to do him justice. He gets to stay in that weight room. And I know you can't get reps outside of the NHL better than the NHL. I just think that the step that college hockey is taking is going to prepare him so much better. And then we're jokingly or not jokingly talking about him being a first-line center. So if you want him to step up there with Pasta and be able to clean up the plays that we saw him do so well, then like one more year at college with him being fed the puck, kind of being more of that goal scorer versus the puck distributor, I think would help a lot.
Yeah, no, obviously this year is going to be huge for him, and I love what you mentioned about Perreault and Leonard not being there anymore, so, you get more of ice time, more spotlight, whatever it is.
More leadership.
And leadership, yeah, exactly. And we'll see what the Bruins, what their needs are. Do they take a look at him? Could be a couple of years too, you never know. You don't necessarily want to wait that long when you're excited about this pick, but it could be a couple of years.